Thank you. Trevor's going to discuss the marquee pairings and the reasons for him to have the pairings this way. Thanks, Trevor.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Well, you can see there at the 10th tee in the morning, one of the marquee pairings will, for TV will be Jared Lyle, Greg Chalmers, past champion, Brett Rumford, international winner, won a lot of tournaments on the European Tour, followed by Rory McIlroy. Everyone knows Rory McIlroy. Jeff Ogilvy, past champion of the Open and US Open champion. And Stuart Appleby, who is also a past champion, has also had a bit of a turnaround in his form of late on the US Tour. So I think he's a worthy player, a player that's very well respected and liked by the fans here in Australia. John Sendon, Matt Jones is a local. They both won on the US Tour this year. And of course we've got Lucas Herbert, who we're all very familiar with his story of late. Played well last week and also played reasonably well in the Asian Amateur. Richard Green, another European Tour player, has had a good year. Kang Sang-hoon, very good Asian player. And Matthew Goggin, who has also featured well in British Opens and US Tour victories. In the afternoon, we'll move to Robert Allenby. We all know Robert, very strong player, past champion. Rod Pampling, US Tour player. And Matthew Griffin, who's won, I think, 5 events now around Asia, etc., and is an up-and-coming player for Australia. Adam Scott, Jordan Spieth, and last week's champion, Nick Cullen, who won the Masters. I think that was, we all saw that, pretty exciting last day, and very good young player, so I think he deserves a nice opportunity, so we'll put him with those 2 players. Boo Weekley, a US visited for us this week. Stephen Bowditch won another US event this year, and Brendan de Jong, good player from the US as well. So there's a strong scattering of US players. There's some Asian performances, and there's obviously some young talent for Australia in Lucas Herbert. So I think all of that's pretty good. Kim Bai-yo, who was supposed to be one of the Asian superstars rising, so he's going to go there with Nick O'Hearn and Kyle Stanley, who is also a strong US Tour player. So that's what we've got. They're TV groups. There'll be other scatterings of players and internationals around the place. We've got quite a few internationals. One Asia's bringing down quite a few players, and Chinese are back, and we'll see how they're progressing with their talents. So that's what we've got for round 1 and round 2 in those groups. Any questions?
Trevor, the course has come up beautifully, hasn't it, after the big remodelling? Yeah,
the course has come up very, very well indeed. It's come a long way in 2.5 weeks as well. It's jumped remarkably well. Players are enjoying it. The surfaces are very close to pure. Like it is very, very good. The good thing about this golf course, it hasn't had a lot of golf on it. You look on those greens, there's hardly a pitch mark in them. Fairways, there's not a lot of divots either. It's really covered quite nicely. And if you look at the heights that they've got, the fairways at 10 and the greens at 2.4. It's pretty tight, so it'll be wonderful surface to play golf on.
And you made some changes yesterday?
Oh, no, we made them on Friday. We've reverted back. The 14th, we were considering making that a par 4, a strong par 4. Having had a look at where the players were hitting the ball into the southerly winds, they weren't getting far enough down there to get the kick-off effect, which we thought they may have. So, to be fair, we've brought it back to a par 5. So it'll be a par 71, and it'll be a nice par 5. Still a difficult par 5 with second shots, but I think it'll be a good little test. And also it might be the breather that you need before you rock on to 15 tees, 16 and 17, and of course 18 might be the toughest drive in Sydney.
What was the reason for increasing the par from 70 to 71?
Sorry?
What was the reason for increasing the par from 70?
We were going to play the par 5 15th as a 4, but we put it back to a 5, so it goes to par 71. We're playing the first as a par 4, not a par 5. 14, yes. Sorry, 14.
What are the main differences?
In
Since the redevelopment,
Oh, well, I think driving is one of the big differences. It's some quite tight driving holes. If you look down 10, it's quite tight into southerly breeze. There's bunkers left and right. Same on 5. There's bunkers left and right on that par 5. So he's put quite a lot of pressure on the drive on a lot of these holes. He's also narrowed the right side of 9. I don't know if you knew the old course, but on the 9th hole, the bunker used to be on the left-hand side, underneath that pine tree. Well, now the bunker's gone to the right, so it's forcing them away from the green. more so than over and giving him an easy shot. So it's a tougher angle into that green. He sat a lot of the greens slightly off skew, where a lot of the older greens used to be pretty much in line with the way you played. These sit across you more. He's got a great set of greens as far as hole locations go. We can tighten this up very, very significantly if we want to. It's just an all-round good test. It's long, it's strong, gives a lot of flexibility for us for wind, etc., to cope with certain circumstances. So it's very, very good. Players love it.
In talking to Matt Jones yesterday, he was actually saying that there's no local advantage for him anymore. Is that a fair comment?
I think so, yeah. Like the demands on the tee shots, and the other thing is the par threes. The par threes are very, very strong. You know, that fourth hole and 15, they're very, very strong golf holes. And again, he's got the greens slightly skewed. So, you know, if you can't hit the green, then local knowledge doesn't really help you. The wind, I think, would be one of the big things for you with local knowledge. But everyone's going to have to drive it very well and try and hit it close. So I think more so the wind will maybe affect your birdie opportunities. It probably won't hurt your par, because these guys can get up and down from a lot of places quite easily. But your birdie opportunities might be fewer.
The greens are all basically being raised, so the heavy rough around it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, he's made it pretty forgiving for members golf. You're right. It's the runoffs aren't as severe. Well, yeah, very tight lies around the greens. Very tight lies. So lob wedging around tight lies has got to be pretty good. So it's still a test, don't get me wrong, but there's room. There's plenty of room around greens if you miss, unless you're in bunkers, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of deep bunkers. But it's I think it's an all-round good. Like the left of one, the bunkering, you can hardly see a player in there when he's playing a shot, when you're stand on the green, for example. So, you know, there's places not to miss it, of course, but they'll work it out over the practice rounds and the Pro-Am, and we'll go off on Thursday morning, see how it fares.
Trevor, you talk about the players working it out. How have you approached how you're going to set the course up? It's essentially a new course for everyone, isn't it? Have you had to seek advice from the designers or from the locals? No,
well, the designers pretty much give you the golf course, obviously, and the whole locations, and you've got to gauge your setup to the weather conditions. You know, you don't put pins on the fronts of greens when it's howling down breeze and all things like that. So you get them back and holes into the wind, you probably bring them slightly further forward. So, you know, it'll play tough enough. We won't have to set it up, you know, very, very tough early. We've got some wind forecast. I think it's Friday, it might be 29 or 30 kilometres. And the late on the weekend is not so windy, so it should be pretty good. So we can get it a little bit tighter with hole locations. But I'll be interested to see how the first round goes and see how they march around and work it out and the strategies that they use. But our strategy is to set up fair. Surfaces are good. No excuses for having bad surfaces, and as an excuse, you just got to play the right shots.
Is this the first time that players will have an opportunity to have you on the sport?
They've had practice rounds today and tomorrow. Sorry, yesterday and today, and the Pro-Am tomorrow. So everyone's got the opportunity to play it twice at its full length. That's one thing we do. We set it up so it's full length, so they know exactly what to expect.
Sure, I know you spoke last week about splitting up Adam and Rory in the first two rounds. What sort of following are you expecting for Rory out early on Thursday morning?
Well, I think you'll get Thursday will be a great day. And part of that is Rory McIlroy. If you want to go and watch Rory McIlroy in the morning, then as Rory finishes, you've got Adam on the first tee going off. So you can have two rounds, and that's about giving the fans the opportunity to see both players for the day. And whereas if you lock them in, you only see one. And the other thing, it's not pleasant for spectators when there's a whole heap of people just following one group, and it's not fair on players ahead as well, because all the fans tend to rush, so the group ahead really gets hammered from that perspective with movement and noise and stuff. So I think it's a good day. It'll be nice, as I say. And then the next day, Rory will go off in the afternoon and Adam will go in the morning, and the same thing applies. One finishes, one starts. So it gives the fans a great opportunity to see both players and the other players.
Is that okay, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. Thank you for your time, Trev.
Pleasure.